Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, another podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips.
Hello everybody and welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips and I am your host and I'm here with Corey.
Hello.
Hello Corey.
Can everybody hear me out there? If you can't hear me, raise your hand.
Well, Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show and we focus on metaphysics and spirituality. We love talking about anything in that realm, and we love you to phone us up and share your opinions, and also phone us up and if you have a life challenge that's going on and you could do with an intuitive insight to help you, to assist you move forward and move through your challenge, then that's what we're here for. We really like to be able to help you with that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Sorry.
No, that's exactly what we're here for.
Yeah. And so normally what we do is we have a topic of the day, and then about 15 to 20 minutes into the show, we open the phone lines and we invite you to phone up with your questions. Now, today's topic, I thought we could talk about relationships, and the reason is it's one of the thing that I get one of the most popular types of questions are about relationships, and so I know it's on your mind. I know it's on your mind. I know that you have relationship challenges. And if you don't have one right now, you've had one in the past and you can empathize. So I thought we would talk about relationships, how important they are to us, and why we get such a high level of uncertainty about what to do about them. Because, you know what, even if you don't phone up this show with your relationship problems, I bet that you talk to your friends about them, and your family about them, and you know, to try and figure out what to do. And so why is it that we get so discombobulated, that we don't have clarity, that we find it hard to make up our own minds about things?
Simple. The answer to that is actually quite simple. It's because relationships are between two people. And people are weird.
Yeah, I think they are, aren't they? Well, and I just jotted down a few different reasons that come up. And, you know, relationships have to do very much with the second chakra, human relationships, because that's the emotional center. That's, you know, we feel our emotions in our guts. And you've probably heard me say before on the show about you are not your emotions. Your emotions actually belong to your body. Your body communicates to you through its emotions, and it can scream really, really loudly. The emotional signals from your body can be overwhelming. And the emotional signals from other people's bodies can be overwhelming as well. And so sometimes our lack of clarity is because we've gone into emotional overwhelm. Is because we have so much emotion going on, triggered by the situation in our relationship, that we really just can't see clearly. And of course, you know, when we get emotionally triggered, it's a little bit like that tip of the iceberg thing. Something will happen and we'll get triggered. And then all the things that ever happened before that are similar to that also get triggered. And so very, very quickly things can just spiral out of control and just seem really hard to deal with. And then if the other person is also being really emotional, and then that can be hard to deal with as well. So one of the reasons that we find it hard to get our certainty when we're in a relationship challenge is just because the emotions are all stirred up. And another reason is because the other person's emotions get stirred up. And you also will have heard me talk on the show about how one of the big challenges, we're constantly in a sea of energy. We've got our own energy, and then we've got other people's energy that sometimes gets in our space. And whenever that happens, that's discombobulating as well, because that's another person who's completely their unique self, different to you. But if their energy's in your space, sometimes it can be really hard to know what's me and what's this other person. And then if you go and talk to a whole bunch of other people, what do you think I should do? This happened, that happened. Go talk to your mom. Go talk to your dad. Go talk to your best friend. Then pretty soon you've got a whole crowd of people, all with their beliefs, emotions, with their concerns for you. And if that all gets absorbed into your energy field, you become even more confused after you've spoken to those people than if you hadn't gone to speak to them.
Especially when you throw a whole bunch of judgment in there.
Well, good one, yeah. Especially when you throw a whole bunch of judgment in there. Exactly. That's right. Yeah, he's right. I'm right. He's wrong. Yeah, that can really affect things as well. And the other thing, and that affects relationships, is the sex drive. I get a lot of questions about, well, is this person right for me or not? Or is he going to come back into my life? Or is this going to turn into a relationship? And oftentimes people aren't looking at the relationship in a clear way. Sometimes what's driving them is their sexual impulses, is their sex drive. And just like the emotions, the sex drive, it relates to the second chakra or the reproductive system. It belongs to the body. It's part of being in a human body, but you, the spiritual being, doesn't actually have a sex drive at all. But that can be such a powerful pull, and can often be why people end up together with somebody that years later they say, well, why did I do that? Because that was so inappropriate, and I wasn't, I wasn't using my brains when I did that. And of course, using your brains can also be something that discombobulates you, because then you're using your logic. And oftentimes your logical mind can disagree with your emotions, can disagree with your sex drive, and so you've got all of these different things going on. And it can get very confusing.
So what does the perfect relationship look like?
Well, that brings me on to the next thing.
Great segue.
Is the belief that there is a perfect relationship. Because in one way there isn't, and in another way of answering that question there is. So let's take a look. What often drives us is that we think that there should be a perfect relationship, and we have expectations about other people and about what that ideal that they should match up to. And having that expectation of a perfect relationship stops us being able to see that person as they are, stops us being able to accept that person as they are, and see, and really, you know what we all want is to be seen and accepted as we are, but so many of us don't give that to our partners because we have expectations of how perfect they should be, and our idea of perfection is it's a projection. It's a belief around what we think a perfect partner should behave like. And sometimes it isn't even our own. Sometimes it's come from other people that brought us up and so on. Oh, I think we have a caller that might be going to join in the conversation, so I'm going to patch them through, and we'll see. Hello, caller. Were you wanting to join in the topic discussion of the day?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi, Lesley. I didn't realize I was on air so soon.
Oh, well, I thought you might be wanting to join in the discussion topic.
Oh. Yeah, I actually didn't have it on, so I don't even know what you were talking about. But
well,
I had
okay.
a question.
So, all right. Well, we were talking about relationships.
You can also just
yeah. So you're welcome to listen while we finish off the topic, and
Sure.
And then we'll bring you on with your question
after the break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Great. You're welcome. Yeah. So, where we were up to was we were talking about. Give me a moment. Oh yes, having a perfect idea of what a relationship should be like. I'm just gonna put you on mute there so we don't hear you. All right, that's better. Okay, so give me a second. Get back in the groove.
Everybody looks for that perfect relationship, and everybody, hey, I found it. And then later on, it's not as perfect as I thought it was.
And that's a really great question, because that really does happen, doesn't it? At the beginning of a relationship, it just feels, oh my God, thank God, all my problems are solved. I've met this fantastic person. It's the answer to everything. And then pretty soon, no, it's not, it's just given me another headache or another problem to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And so why does that happen? That happens because, when we initially meet another person, somehow we momentarily drop our filters that we're normally viewing reality through, and we meet them with that vibration of acceptance and love, and that coming together sort of propels you into a higher vibration, which unfortunately is temporary, because the nature of our reality that we live in is that there's contrast here. And so, we experience the light and the dark. We experience pain, and we experience the opposite of that.
Yeah, I think the main problem is that as human beings, we look for the wrong perfect relationship. Instead of looking for that perfect relationship with someone else, you should find that perfect relationship with yourself. Because if you don't have it with yourself, then it's pretty hard to have it with somebody else.
Yeah, totally. That's totally it. Yeah, and that's something we often say, isn't it? That to attract what you're wanting, you need to become what you're looking for.
Oh, exactly. And it's not an easy thing. Looking in the mirror is not always the easiest thing to do, especially in a relationship. And I think because of that, what happens, we put on the relationship facade. We have that face that I'm this type of person and that type of person, and then we meet somebody and that changes quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Or not so quickly, but it does change because we change as well as human beings.
Yeah.
Our lives change.
Yeah. Now there's a saying, isn't there, that people end up being together with someone that's like their mother or their father. or the opposite. And one thing which is true for sure is that we're often looking at our partner through the filter of the people who've been strong influences in our lives. And so, we can't help but be affected by, our parents and how they saw the world. So, the phones are going crazy tonight, listeners. We've got another caller that's coming in. So I think that what I might end up doing is I might end up going to the ads, and then we can come back and start taking the calls. All right, so I'm going to go to the ads a little bit early, and we'll be back in a flash. Hello everyone, we're back on air. You're listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name's Dr. Lesley Phillips, and tonight we've been talking about relationships, and we actually have two callers on the line. And the first one is, hello.
Hi, Lesley. It's Joanna. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. So I believe you actually had a question.
Yeah, I do. It's not so much about relationships. But I've been looking for a place, like my own apartment in Victoria, for about 6 months, but mainly more regularly in the last 2 or 3 months. And it seems like I'm having a lot of trouble getting exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm just wondering if there's any blocks in the way of that maybe might help me if I clear them, or I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what is in the way. If it's, I know the situation right now is really tough to get a place.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm seeing. Really, it's not your expectations. It's just that there isn't anything where you're looking. But what I am seeing is if you widen the net and you start looking in the northeast quadrant, I'm seeing some apartments light up in that area. So I don't know Victoria very well, but if I look at sort of like the radius, the diameter where you've been looking, it doesn't look like there isn't anything, and that's why you can't find it. There's nothing that meets your expectations. But if you just go a bit further out, it does look like there are some things available.
Oh, okay. All right.
Quick answer there.
Yeah. Okay. It's just that I'm kind of really set on a certain neighborhood and price range, and I don't know, like, if I should just wait a little longer or, just look somewhere else, like you suggested.
Well, so right now, in the area where you're looking, I don't see that there's anything.
Okay.
And so that's the choice: wait longer or look somewhere else. Really.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
It's funny you should mention the Northeast, because that's an area where a lot of apartments come up around this time, but it's not really right in the city. But okay, anyway, thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to go to the next caller.
Right. Bye.
All right, well, we do have another caller, and so we'll just get them on air and see what their question is. Hello, caller.
Hi, Dr. Lesley.
Hello.
I first want to say I really love your show. I listen every week, and I love what you do.
Thank you.
For people. Yeah.
Who am I talking to?
My name's Teresa, and we've talked before.
Okay.
And I like the theme of the show, and I'm asking about a friend I used to have, very close friend, and she suddenly stopped talking to me. I just never heard from her. Her name was Audrey.
And did Audrey live near you, or did she live in another city?
No, she lived near me.
Yeah. Okay. And do you still see her around on like social media and stuff, or?
No, not at all.
She's just sort of fallen off the map.
Yes. I tried to reach out to her many times because we didn't have an argument or anything. There was nothing that I feel I did wrong, and I still kind of wonder about it.
Do you have any people in common with Audrey that might know what's happened to her?
No, I don't.
I feel like something might have happened to her. I'm just looking at the first question I'm asking is whether Audrey is actually still alive.
Okay. I mean, I know her 2 daughters are around.
Yeah. No, I think she is still alive, but
okay.
Let's take a look. I'll just take a look at her. So, I'm definitely seeing, it's taking me a minute to tune into her, really. I'm definitely seeing that there's some kind of barrier, and I'm not sure if it's just a general barrier that has something to do with her sort of current state of being, or whether it's specific to you. So I'm just going to take a look at that. I'm not sure. Let me just do a quick reading on this lady and see. Really not sure. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
Let me see. So she, I mean, if I was to read her energy in terms of right now, what's going on, okay, let me ask you a few questions about her. Was she at all, like, religious, or have something that she was really into?
I would consider her very spiritual, yes, but not religious.
Not religious. Because it's sort of, it's almost like, on the one hand, her energy looks happy and connected. On the other hand, there's this big, huge, cutting off, at the communication center, like you say. And I'm just, I don't really know that it's specific to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering if it was me, if it was my energy that she couldn't deal with, or...
Well, let's take a look. Give me a second. This one's, for some reason, it's not that easy to look at, but... Oh, it's always a worry to go quiet on the radio, isn't it? But I need to take a second.
Sure.
I'm really not seeing very clearly. I mean, how long ago did it get, sort of the communication get cut off between you?
Oh, well, I think that's probably comes into play. It was quite a while ago, like years ago.
So maybe I need to dial back and stop looking in present time and look in the past.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Reason. Hang on then.
Okay.
At the time that it happened. At the time that it happened, it looks like she looks angry about something, actually.
I know she was upset with a boyfriend, because he found out her real age. Like, the family didn't like her age for him. Didn't think she was right about him. I know that was happening at the time.
Yeah. So that comes up, being really angry about something, and I would say the two of you look like you're kind of different vibrations than each other. And it may just be that, sometimes people are in our lives and we sort of walk the same path for a while, and then we become too different than each other, and there's not a fit anymore. So I'm really not getting a lot of information about it.
I was, I had a depressive episode with her that she helped me with, and I always thought it was because she didn't want to deal with that kind of friendship.
Yes, well, and yeah. I think that might work. That might well be true, because the difference in energy frequency that I was seeing was that you were looking more depressed than she was, and so and because to her it really, yeah, it can sometimes, let's have a look. It looks like she just didn't feel like she could she did what she could, and she didn't feel like she could help you anymore. And and connect, and it does look like she, it's sort of, sometimes I say to people that, if someone's energy frequency is a lot lower than yours, and then you have to drop your frequency down in order to sort of interact with them at their level, it doesn't feel, it doesn't feel very good to the person who's dropping their energy. And so it just looks like that was one of the things that was happening with, that she just sort of, moved on from it, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't feel like, Corey looks like he might have spotted some information, so let's hand over to him. That's good. Thanks, Corey.
Yeah, every once in a while I get involved too. Actually, what I saw when I went back is that something in your life had changed. And a lot of times we look at circumstances around relationships and we don't really catch. I mean, we're looking for something very specific in what the other person felt, but in this situation, what I felt for them, I'm in a more of an emotional reader. What I got is something changed in your life, and because she was having issues in hers at the same time, the support mechanism that she was looking for or was asking from you wasn't coming anymore. You were being more supportive to her generally on a regular basis, and that sort of stopped. And it's not that there's anger there, it's just that she had to walk away for a while. And what happens is when you walk away for a while, sometimes that turns into a long time. And she just never came back. And then there was I also got embarrassment on her part, that she is almost embarrassed in one way that she allowed the relationship between you and her to suffer in the way it did, because of how she felt about you, understanding later that there was nothing nothing there to be anxious or upset about. But now it's hard to get back, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm seeing. It's almost like a no-fault accident in here, or a perfect storm where two storms come together. And they, as opposed to knocking themselves out, as opposed to creating a huge storm, they knock themselves out. They stop each other. They neutralize each other. Yeah.
Okay.
But if I were you and you really wanted to know, you'll have to ask one of her daughters.
Yeah, for sure.
And you won't necessarily get the truth, but find out how she's doing, right?
Yeah. Let her know I'm thinking of her.
Yeah, does that ring a little bit true for you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's like you were the strength, more, not the strength, I won't say the strength, but there's always one person in a relationship of two friends that is a little bit stronger, a little bit more assertive, a little bit more helpful, a little more understanding sometimes, and when that changes, it's hard to accept on the other side, especially if she was going through some issues with her boyfriend at the same time. It's sort of like, well, I can't handle my issues and her issues at the same time. This is what she was thinking inside of herself, and too shy to voice them. Too shy to just walk away. That's what happened. That's what I thought.
Great.
Thank you very much for both of your insights.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for calling. Call back again. Let us know.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Alrighty. So, why don't we see if we have an email question?
You gotta give me a second.
Yeah, so you're listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley, and this evening's topic has been about relationships. And we're now in the segment of the show where we take your calls. And funnily enough, I don't even think I've read out the number yet today. We've had a couple of calls without me doing that. The number is 604-504-7441, extension 4142. Once again, that's 604-504-7441, extension 4142.
Okay, I have an email question from Greg. And Greg would like to know, what will finally lead to a breakthrough in my levels of physical pain?
Okay, let's take a look at that for Greg. Alrighty, let's take a look at Greg and his physical pain. Well, the first thing that I'm seeing, Greg, is that you being disassociated from your body. And, which, if you're in pain, is understandable. So I'm seeing that you sort of go, I don't like being in that body, because when I'm in it, I feel pain. Therefore, I'm gonna not be here. And, maybe that you're taking painkillers or something like that. But I'm seeing that if you're disassociating yourself from your body isn't the solution, that the solution is the opposite to that. It's paying attention to your body and paying attention to the pain that has been stored in it and consciously, well, not even, it doesn't have to be conscious actually, but just focusing your intention on releasing the pain. Because at the moment it looks like I said you're in a way running away from the pain or disassociating from it. And so, I would say that a breakthrough could come by you focusing more on your body rather than less. And as beyond acknowledging the pain that is in it, realizing that you actually do have the power to shift the pain. Because it seems like at the moment you've been saying, well, it's full of pain and there's not much I can do about it, so I'll just, not hang out there. So, but you can do something about it because your body is part of your private personal universe and you're the god of it, and you can shift and change anything that's there. Now, I'm beating my old drum, but the first technique I teach anyone, whether they're wanting to heal themselves, manage their pain, develop their intuition, whatever it is how to ground. And I'm seeing that, listening to the show on grounding, learning how to ground, and focusing on releasing your pain down the grounding cord, and also using the grounding cord as a way of helping you come into closer contact and connection with your body, would be a really great first step. And as soon as you start to realize that you can create the shift, that becomes very exciting for you. As soon as you realize that you can have some control and take charge of this. So it's shifting your belief from one of, this is my lot and I can't do anything about it, to realizing that actually you can. So that would be my answer for Greg, Corey.
That's lovely. I'm sure he appreciates it.
Hopefully it helps him. It's not fun, is it, when you're in pain?
No, it's not. So I have another one here. I was reading something else. Where'd you like it? This one's from Mara. And Mara wants to know, I want to know the future of my love life.
Ha! Good one. Well, we have been talking about relationships, and that's the other most common relationship question I get is, tell me the future of my love life. And of course, my stock answer is you create your own reality. So anyone who predicts your future is just tuning into a probability field and choosing a likely probability from the probability field, which can change at any time, which is why when people predict your future, sometimes it doesn't happen that way. The fault is not with the reader. It's just that you're not operating on a linear predetermined track. But anyway, Mara, let's have a look. So I'm actually seeing you looking at two different directions for your life right now. And one direction, let's call it continuing on the same old track. And the other direction is turning over a new leaf of some kind. And I'm seeing that continuing on the same old track gives you the same results that you've been getting all the way along. Making a shift in direction looks a lot brighter for you. So let's see, what does this shift in direction have to do with? And it really, actually, it kind of relates to what I said about you creating your own reality, because it looks like the old path is like expecting others to do it for you. Expecting others to take responsibility for you and to do it for you. It's kind of like wanting to be the princess that everybody opens doors for and curtsies to and everything else. And, that might seem like a fabulous way to be, but actually it's the opposite to empowering. And I'm seeing that the other direction that you're looking at is dropping those expectations and taking charge of your own life and just letting go of the old, in a way, the little girl princess dreams, of the charming prince that comes and solves all your problems. And in one way, just getting on with your life. But by getting on with your life, that's not like pulling the bad card out of the deck. It's the opposite to that. It's like, well, just go for what you want, what you love, what you're passionate about. Fill yourself with all the things that you love, and somewhere along the way, you'll meet all sorts of like-minded people. So, the future of your love life, is it's up to you, but it looks like you are looking at a shift in direction, and that shift in direction has to do with, in a way, the way that you approach life and relationships. So I am actually going to go to another set of ads, and I'll read out the number before I do, 604-504-7441, extension 4142. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. I'm Dr. Lesley Phillips, and I'm the show host here with Corey. And our number is 604-504-7441, extension 4142. And this is it's a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And you can call in with your questions. Once again, 604-504-7441, extension 4142.
Yeah, and if you listen to one of our podcasts, our show is from 7 to 8 o'clock p.m. on Tuesdays, and that is Pacific time. We're on the west coast of Canada. So I've got another question for you. And this is from Jane. Get your pen ready for notes. It's a long one. Hi there, Lesley. Thank you for your always inspirational email about cards. You are so right. I'm thinking of selling my condo now. I have been here for 15 years and a lot of memories and friends of my husband who live here. They did not know the real him. It wears me down when they talk about how wonderful he was. As does my family. Time to make a life for me out of his shadow and his dark side. He did have some good qualities, but he was a fake around others. I now think he was a narcissistic. I remember saying to him about his women friend, that if his family found out, he even said they won't believe it. Yes, time for me to move on. That if his family found out, they wouldn't believe it. Yes, time for me to move on. Thanks. Someday I will get a reading with you. Thanks.
That's not a question. I think she's writing in because I have this thing, listeners, called a free card reading, and you can go to freecardreading.com, and when you go there, you can send in a question, and the questions come to the radio show, but they also get you get a free card drawn and an answer sent to you by email, and then every week after that, you get an inspirational card in your email. And it sounded like that lady was just thanking me, yeah. Rather than actually asking a question, didn't it?
More or less, yeah. But I think her question is actually, should she move on?
Well, it sounds like she's not together with him anymore, doesn't it?
No, but should she move on with her life?
And
sell her condo, get rid of her memories? Well, the one thing, remember we were watching that movie the other night, and they were moving out of, this family was being evicted from their family home, and the dad said to the kids, don't worry about the memories, those come with us.
Mm-hmm.
So leaving the condo is a really, it's one good idea. However, the memories will go with her.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I can take a look at this lady and give some information. So give us a second. I feel like the unresolved stuff that you have is about the duplicity of the whole thing. That on the surface, your husband was known in the community and to family and friends as being this particular kind of personality and guy, and behind the scenes, there was something quite different. And I would just validate that I can see that he had a nasty side. He controlled and showed to the outside world, didn't show to the outside world, but did unleash in the privacy of his own home. And so I'm seeing that even though I believe that he's gone, you're still, haven't let processed and let go of the injustice of the duplicitous life that you were leading when you were together with him. And just that it just feels unjust and unfair that so many of the people that you would have liked to have, counted as friends and that you could trust couldn't see beyond that. So let's see if we can give you a little hand, because the moving on, as Corey says, is not, you might think, well, if I move out of this apartment, I've moved on. But that's not what the moving on is. What the moving on is being able to just completely let go of the old story, the old reality, the old pictures, the old memories, and the suffering that you went through, because I am seeing that you did suffer, that you did end up on the short end of that stick, that you, the part of the personality that this person did not show to the outside world, they definitely showed it to you. And that's painful. It looks like you have emotional wounds as a result of that. And so the real moving on has to do with the letting go of those emotional wounds. And let's see if we can give you a hand with that. And it looks like part of you blames yourself and says, well, why did I allow it to happen? Why did I stay there? Why did I let myself be a punching bag or whatever it was? And it doesn't look like literally a punching bag, but looks like, mentally and emotionally. So part of it is about just forgiving yourself, because it looks like you blame yourself. And actually that you feel like you were just duplicitous in the situation because, you lived the fantasy that he was projecting alongside him. So it's sort of like being out in the world where he's being the personality that he is in the world, and not I can't think of the words, but not kind of going against that and saying, no, this isn't the real him kind of thing that I've designed to see a different side. So forgiving yourself, and actually that looks like the main one that you need to forgive. It's more about forgiving yourself than forgiving anyone else. It looks like if you forgive yourself, then it's much easier to let go of everything else. So that's what I'm seeing for that lady.
Okay. So I have a question from Macy. Macy wants to know, what is my life purpose and what would be the best ways to take action to manifest it?
That's a really great question. And you know what? You don't just have one life purpose. You actually have many life purposes. So you are always living your life purpose in one sense, because there is a purpose to every moment of you being here. But I know what you're asking. You're asking for that main contribution that you can give that nobody else can give. So let's take a look, Macy. Oh, I'd love to have you on the end of the phone because I'd ask you some questions, but seeing as I don't, what I'd be asking you is whether you do anything in the realm of acting or performing. Because some images are coming up that are like that. And so if you said to me, oh yes, I'm like an actress or a singer or something, oh, that would make sense to me, right? Because I am seeing that. But if you said to me I'm not, then it could also be, sometimes somebody lives some version of a life out that serves an example to others. And there might not be an actor or an actress, but maybe they get in the news and there's a news story about them and people learn from that situation that they went through. So there's something to do with being in the spotlight. Being in the spotlight, living life in the spotlight, and that living life in the spotlight serves as an example to others. So let me see if I can get a bit more information. And the images that I'm seeing remind me of the old musical type images. Give me a second. I do think that you must have a good singing voice. I do see singing. And it's uplifting. So, if you were a singer, it'd be like a voice that can uplift people and transport them temporarily out of their troubles. So that's what I'm kind of seeing somehow. Something in the spotlight, on stage, performing, singing, that has the ability to uplift and transport people out of their problems for the while that they are absorbed in that. That's what I'm seeing. And so, without knowing any more details about you, what's the best way to go about that? Well, if what I'm saying is making sense to you and you have an interest in acting or singing, then, the actions would be pursuing that. And if that doesn't make sense to you, then, no, I think I'll have to leave it there because that's kind of what I'm seeing about it. All right, so,
that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not as interesting as the next show coming up, though.
All right, folks, we'll be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for another exciting edition of Unlocking Your Truth. And you know what?
No.
I would love you to write to Dr. Lesley Phillips at gmail.com or info@drlesleyphillips.com with your topics or some topic suggestions. Yeah, we would really like to cover things that you want to hear about, so don't be shy. Get out your typing finger and send in some show topics. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips. For more information, go to our website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's drlesleyphillips.com, where you can ask questions or send her an email, and there's many free gifts on there for you as well. Come back again.